Hello everybody, I'm Conquering History Games, and welcome back to part 2 of my New England campaign here in Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich. So one thing I wanted to talk about real quick, I forgot to mention with Vermont history. Well, actually, what I thought would be something fun to do, because I think that even Americans, we don't really think of New England as being these separate individual states, because they tend to be so small. You know, like Vermont and New Hampshire and Maine, like all this stuff. Compare the size of those to, you know, something like Texas or a California or a Georgia. You know, they're kind of smaller. So I just thought it'd be fun to do like a little bit of brief overviews of some history of the states at the beginning of the episodes, especially because I think it's probably going to be a little while before we can enter the war. Yeah. So, like this, it says, yeah, we need to get our legitimacy up, but we have to deal with the Great Depression, and we have to get rid of some of the reluctance. So, I don't know how long that's going to take. I guess we'll start going through the tree now and start figuring it out, but it's going to take us a little bit of time. So, one of the things, though, that I think I'm aware of, even though I'm going into this blind, is that it's not actually possible for us to go outside of being centrist, which is fine. That makes sense. You know, trying to claim the mantle of being the last bastion and all that. I think I saw something online where somebody was saying like they wish that there was a syndicalist New England, which again, that doesn't make sense. That's what the CSA is. But you have to remember that the perhaps the most famous Vermontian or Vermontanites, whatever the Vermont people call themselves right now, is of course renowned communist Bernie Sanders, who himself is not even a Vermont guy. He was born in New York, and also he hasn't even been born yet. So I just don't see how you're supposed to go syndicalist up here. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about Maine. So, a couple little fun Maine facts. So when the British were colonizing Jamestown down here in Virginia, they actually also set up a settlement in Maine that very same year, but that one was abandoned after the head of the expedition died, so that's why we think of Jamestown as the first permanent settlement, because, well, the Maine one wasn't, this one wasn't permanent, it got abandoned. So the thing with Maine is, even though much of its territory was part of the 13 colonies that originally broke away from Britain, it actually is not one of the first 13 states, because it was part of Massachusetts originally. If you go back and look at the map that I pulled up in the first video, I think it actually shows that, where it shows Maine and then it says parentheses part of Massachusetts. Now, again, I'm not somebody who's studied the histories of these states in depth, but it's my understanding that it basically had to do with how the wording of one of the counties within Massachusetts, its land, the land that it was owed was given. So it basically most of Maine was part of just one county within Massachusetts. But it's kind of awkward because they weren't even territorially connected. They were separated by this little strip of New Hampshire that hits the coast. So after the United States of America was founded, Maine kept trying to secede for many years, but of course there were people in Massachusetts who it behooved them to keep Maine as a part of Massachusetts. The way that Maine ended up getting statehood was not until 1820, so even if you count the history of the United States from when the Constitution is formed, so that was 87, so you're looking at 33 more years before they were able to break away. And the reason for that was because it was part of the Missouri Compromise, which is when Missouri was coming into the Union as a slave state, and the difference between the slave states and the free states and their representation, particularly in the Senate, was a huge, huge part of early 19th century American politics. So part of that famous Missouri Compromise created by Calhoun, Webster, and Clay was Missouri comes in as a slave state, and Maine is finally going to get to be independent. Well, an independent state, its own state, not part of Massachusetts, and it'll come in as a free state. But funnily enough, I don't know, hilarious, but Strangely enough, the shape of Maine actually wasn't established until, I want to say, the Polk administration in the 1840s. Basically, there was like a fuzzy line over here, like trying to figure out, okay, what it belongs to Canada, what belongs to Maine, and obviously they ended up working it out. A lot of this is really sparsely populated anyway. Like, for example, I think, like, even today, Maine's only got 4 congressional districts, and one of them covers like the northern most one covers about like 85% of the state geographically, because it's just forest out there and rural land. There's very few actually people who live there. And then like Portland is getting very, very packed, though. Portland, Maine, that is in the south. Anyway, Maine also gave a really important contribution to the United States Civil War with the forming of the 20th Maine, which ends up being led by Joseph Chamberlain, the GOAT, Mainite, you could say. He's the one who's in charge of the 20th Maine at the Battle of Little Round Top during the bigger Battle of Gettysburg. So, and then he gets to go home to Maine and become governor 4 times, as he rightly should have. I'm sure he had policies, but who the fuck cares? He was at Little Round Top. And Maine is, of course, also the birthplace of Stephen King, who's a pretty well-known horror author, and also the birthplace of Richard Bachman, who's a much better one. That's a joke. If you know, you know. All right, so that's the Maine. We'll do another state next time. Now let's start figuring out what the heck is going on here. So we have a reluctant populace. Yeah, I think we looked at these already. Great Depression and stuff. So it looks like we don't really have a choice for what our first thing is here. With the rest of the United States consumed by war, New England has managed to become a safe harbor and a store of chaos. We must reassure those in our borders that the provisional government is their only hope for freedom and safety. So we'll get 5 legitimacy and 10 stability. So just kind of tell everybody to calm the freak down right now. See, the Republicans are actually more popular right now rather than the Democrats. There's a prohibition party, bro. The Second American Civil War is happening. If people want to drink, this is the time. I think there's a line like that in the Ken Burns Prohibition documentary when he's talking about like how the roots of Prohibition were actually in like pre-Civil War, but then the Civil War hits and like all Prohibition arguments just die instantly because a lot of people needed a drink. Okay. But then it picks back up again after the war. Alright, so I was able to research a decent amount of some good things here. Like I was able to get Field Hospital 1. That could end up being pretty useful down the line. I don't know if I want to get some anti-aircraft guns being made. I don't. I've got 23 factories right now. I'm trying to think what I could be producing here. So we've only got 4 military factories. I'm not building any trucks. Kind of need that. Need some trains and I need some trucks. I think the trucks actually find for the higher priority. So this is not good. Not good at all. So it's probably not a good idea to be researching anti-air when we can't even, build it. I don't know. Let's get some infrastructure being built up here somewhere. Do I not have resources? Wait. You're telling me there's no resources anywhere in New England? That cannot possibly be right. Okay. Alright, let's take a look at our railways here. So, all of our railway connections are level 2. Major supply hub is, of course, Boston. Are these two not connected, technically? What's going on here? Oh, you know what it is? It's because they're supposed to link up in New York City. So, New York City... It looks like we got a lot of 2s up here, which might be as good as we need them to be. Ooh, the South, more 1s. I don't know what we can do about that, though. Gosh, I wish that we had Buffalo. Take a look at the supply map closer. So it's a real mess out here. Looks like Harrisburg's not linked up, which would be nice. Okay, then what do we want to be building? let's get some more infrastructure in the capital, and then we'll figure something out later. Alright, so we're not going to be doing anti-air right now. God, who the hell even does anti-tank anymore? Anti-air is so good. As much as I'd like tanks, we're not going to be getting around to that kind of stuff for a while. Could do an armored train. Oh, production cost is much too high, though. Special forces acclimatization. Oh, this stuff's going to take too long. Too long. Sorry I'm taking this long, guys. I'm just trying to think. Resource gain efficiency is no good because we don't have any resources to gain. Guess we can get better fighters, maybe? Not that I'm building any, though, so never mind. Man, I think we're just going to have to take some stuff ahead of time. That could be good. Like, see this? Yeah, the 232 here. We'll take that. And, 324 is way too much over there. We've got transports. I guess we are going to research anti-air. Like, let's just have it in the queue. Alright, we've got 7 divisions, basically all of our National Guardsmen. Whoa! No, do not, we don't need to go up into Canada. Want this to be green. Alright, who have we got here? Leslie Richard Groves Jr. Commander of Company D in the 1st Engineer Battalion, helped during the New England Flood of 27, sent to Nicaragua in 1929 to conduct surveys for the construction of the Nicaragua Canal. Oops. On his return to his shattered United States, he gained his last promotion to the rank of Field Marshal in New England due to the sheer lack of capable staff in the region. Important notes: a brilliant engineer, he has been following closely the development of nuclear fission technology, keeping regular contact with Otto Hahn and Leslie Mitnier. Are we going to be able to get nukes early or something? What's up with that? Preferred tactic, doesn't have it. Alright. And, oh, I don't know. Get a ranger here, I suppose. Land doctrines we're not going to be able to get for a while. The key, obviously, is going to be that we need high-quality units. Oh, yeah, going to join the scientific community, of course. And, I think that's about it for now. We can assign a new trait to him. I think these things can wait. There we go. Alright, let's unpause. And, oh yeah, we got dockyards. Just do some convoys for now. We don't really need a navy. Maybe it could be good for naval invasions later, but we've got Canada for that if we really needed it. Oh, maybe having a little wouldn't hurt. Yeah, we do have a patrol force here, but as you see, we don't have much in the way of fuel. Alright, provisional government. They believe we are the true and legitimate America, and we must rectify this problem. But most people don't believe that we're part of it. So I could add some stuff to the pool. We're just going to invest 25 for right now. I just don't think I can afford much more than that at the moment. Supporting the Entente. So we got to have certain amounts of legitimacy before we can start arm ourselves with the Canadians. Construction engineers we could do. Yeah, let's do construction engineers, and then next year we'll do factory output. Okay. Alright. Now then, let's go to 5-speed, because we just gotta finish up this, excuse me, first focus. But while we're doing that, let's figure out what we need to do here. So, second square deal. Weapons cache looted. They stumble off track. Or quickly secure the weapons, continuing their move to New England. We'll make sure to put these to good use. Yeah, so I guess those are just going to be periodic things related to this Underground Railroad here, where we're smuggling in weapons and people. So I'm probably not going to read all of those word for word. I'll just skim them and tell you what's happening. Anyway, so This second square deal is going to presumably eventually help us fix the Great Depression. We're not allowed right now. I'm not sure what the prerequisite is to doing that. We have to have legitimacy greater than 10 before we can do propaganda campaigns. Second Declaration of Independence. Oh. We need to stand on our own 2 feet. We demand home rule. We have to have 15 divisions and 32 factories. And be at peace. So, yeah, making 15 divisions doesn't say they have to be, like, good divisions, right? So maybe what we'll just do is crank out some really cheap ones. We need 15 divisions, so there we go. Actually, you know what? I want to make some mountaineers. Yeah. Our Green Mountain boys. Okay, so there's 5 there. And then we'll need a few more after that. So we'll do that and that. Just crank them out as soon as we can. Not necessarily, they're not going to be full, but we can train them after they're done. They don't need guns yet. We just need to get that up. And of course, we'll work on the factories later as soon as we can. The Yunnan clique is falling into civil war. Looks like Anqing is winning. Left KMT. It's hard to win as the left KMT for the AI, and so it seems like to me. The Soviet Union is steadily making its way south, and the Patagonian War has begun with them in Argentina. Let's see if anybody jumps in. Excuse me, Chilean Argentinian War. Yeah, let's see if Paraguay, Bolivia, and the rest, if they're going to be hopping in there. Canada has declared support today. The Canadian government, and through them the exiled British leaders and the entirety of the Entente, declared their support for New England as the true and only legitimate claimant to the mantle of American leadership. While stopping short of promising direct military intervention, they have offered to bolster our forces with equipment and volunteers, as well as numerous military advisors to speed military planning. They have so far asked for nothing in return, stating solely that victory would be a boon for world order. So, Canadian backing will hurt my war support. Why? Increases consumer good factories, helps with output though. Increases our legitimacy by 20. Wow, that's awesome. Canada supports federal government. I think it's just kind of repeating it. All right. Good, so our legitimacy is already 20. Second International's going on. The International. What's this? New Jersey safe house. Eden line. Smuggling group apprehended. We lost the ones in Ohio. Track them to secure stability. They'll be treated as enemy size. We can't save them all. Yeah, so. No, the smuggling going in is not going very well. Failed army coup. Ritual suicide and shame has begun, and democracy survives. Seiyukai are still in charge. Joint effort programs. That'll be good later, but reorganize the guard. What's the one I need to increase the railroad here? Expand the underground railroad. So whoops. Uh-oh. I was trying to type. Okay, let's search underground railway. Okay, so to do that, we need to have done one of these first. Either reorganize the National Guard or Kenny mobilization plan. Establish refugees and resources will be smuggled across the border into New England. And we'll just get a flat 5,000 off of it. Alright, looks like we have a couple of important things here. I guess we should determine our president before we do movies. Okay. The outbreak of the Second American Civil War separated New England from the rest of the nation. In the absence of a responsible government, the local state governments have organized a vote to determine who shall lead as the provincial president of New England. In hopes of shoring up some of our legitimacy, the provisional president will only serve until 1940, when a normal election cycle will occur. The convention has come up with 3 options. The Republican Party has put forward their candidate of Louis Barros, a long-standing Republican committeeman and just recently elected into the governorship of Maine in 1936. Running alongside him is Style Bridges, the former governor and current senator for New Hampshire. While they have promised to work with Democrats to bring about social relief for those still suffering under the Great Depression, they remain committed to fighting what they view as excesses in unionization and welfare subsidies. Running against them for the Democratic Party is David Walsh, the former governor of Massachusetts and current senator of the same state. While he has not been supportive of large government projects ever since his political defeat in 1924, the party has chosen his running mate accordingly. Prospective Vice President Theodore Green, recently elected Senator of Rhode Island, is a fervent defender of big government. He has already delivered speeches outlining plans to ensure relief reaches the people and enacting wage and rent reforms to keep the bottom line up. Finally, an unorthodox approach for an equally unusual election, moderates from both the Democratic and Republican Party have pushed forward the option of Joseph Martin Jr., a member of the House of Representatives for Massachusetts for over the last decade. He's agreed to have Joseph Ely as his running mate, which will mark the first time since John Adams and Thomas Jefferson's election in 1796 that members of opposing political parties will run together. Promising a middle ground where both parties have equal input on national policy, they hope the moderates can carry their way into the presidency. So I think I talked about this. I was just going to have the Republicans win, but let's just kind of look at what we stand to gain. So if the Republicans go through, we'll get a strike breaker. He's going to hurt our political power gain, but it helps with factory output. He also gets emergency powers, so that'll help with the political power gain loss. Compromise candidate puts Martin at the top. Helps stability, hurts war support, helps with daily political power gains. You'll enter a coalition with the Democratic Party, but political power given by them will only be half of the power given if they were in power. Okay. Or Democrats become the ruling party. Election will take place every 4 years. Outspoken isolationist, helps with stability, hurts with war support. David Walsh, emergency powers. You know what? If the Republican is going to be the president, let's see, we have Joseph Martin Jr. here. We'll lose the factory output, but we also aren't going to take a 10% political power gain, which I think is going to be very, very painful as the game goes on, because we're going to need 100 political power to officially reclaim America, but also these joint exercise things are going to cost political power. So I think a compromise candidate can work as long as it's a Republican president. It's the Republicans who are just reaching out. I don't know about how this math with the political power in the Democratic Party works, but yeah, I think that works. Like, it's an extraordinary time, and we're trying to say we are the only legitimate democracy, and so we're going to bring in a loyal opposition in the case of the Democratic Party. This is kind of like all those op-eds you see, and my usual disclaimer: I'm not taking sides on any modern day political issues, but you'll see all these op-eds of people thinking this is the West Wing or something, or the 1930s, and that Biden will replace Kamala Harris in his second term. So it's like people saying, why Mitt Romney should be the vice president for a Democratic president, things like that. It's like, these are extraordinary times and we need to come together or whatever. Not giving any opinions of that, but it's so yeah, we're gonna do the compromise candidate then. I wouldn't have done this if the Democrat was in charge, because the Republicans won the election. Or no, the Democrat. Wait, no, who did win it? Or because it's failure of leadership. So yeah. The Democrats blew it, and so now we're bringing the Republicans in. So let's look who this guy is. Or actually, we'll read about him in a second. Okay, Captain Courageous, a New England film company, is making a hit. Captain Courageous, based on the Rudyard Kipling 1897 novel. I like Kipling, but I haven't actually read this one. An emotional story of maritime camaraderie among the treacherous New England waters. The film's protagonist is Harvey Shen, spoiled son of American business tycoon, stunned by his classmates and shunned by his classmates and suspended at boarding school. Harvey is sent on a European excursion with his father to fall overboard in the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. Fatefully rescued by Portuguese-American sailor Manuel Fidelo, played by the handsome Spencer Tracy, and taken aboard a Massachusetts schooner. On board the We're Here, Harvey finds that his status as the son of a wealthy New York socialite means nothing, and despite his spoiled acts, the boy is still offered a temporary cruise ship until the boat returns to the States. He befriends the captain's son Dan, played by Mickey Rooney, and he grows closer to Manuel, with Manuel becoming an almost surrogate father for the young boy. In the movie's climax, the schooner races against a rival vessel when Manuel climbs to the top of the ship's mast. The mast cracks and Manuel is plunged into the icy sea, much to the horror and sadness of Harvey. Returning to the States, Harvey is reunited with his father, who is in awe of his son's growth and maturity over the past months. They offer a solemn moment of remembrance at the Fisherman's Memorial in Gloucestershire, Massachusetts, with bouquets and wreaths, the closing shot being the memorial and a smiling Manuel. Critics have praised the movie for acknowledging the naturally formed bonds made at sea and the tribulations the waves have to offer. For many, it is indeed a reflection of the times, with New England's position in the Great American Civil War, and a reminder of the natural New Englander spirit to continue on, despite the hardships. Someone passed me a tissue. I gotta tell you, this is so interesting. I really want to know when the film buff got put on the Kaiserreich dev team, because, yeah, a couple of years ago, they started having all these film events. I don't have a problem with them. It's cool. It fleshes the world out. All right, finally done with that first national focus, 25 minutes in. So we could do propaganda stuff now, which would give me a political power gain. Remember Lexington and Colin here, this also will help with that. I don't know exactly how we're supposed to get to the Square New Deal, though. Sway public opinion on the home front. Yeah, I'm just not sure what it is we can or should do. So how about for now, let's do remember Lexington and Concord. Actually, no, this gives me more political power. This will modify my limited recognition. So really, I'm going to get a net gain of 0.0 or 0.12 political power a day. Dangerous ideas, syndicalists, revolutionaries, autocrats. People are susceptible. We have to show the Americans know we are the legitimate government that promises to uphold promises made by the Constitution. We promise on the promises. Promise on the promises. Promise on the promises. Totalists in the Baratia Commune. All right. Oh, that is definitely a new portrait of Bose. Looks much nicer there. Is it? Yeah, I don't keep track of everybody who's gotten all the new portraits. So I'm consistently sometimes surprised by who we have here. Like, yeah, this looks new to me and hungry. Okay. Conclusion of the Remington Rand strike. Yeah, that's right. We got a lot of those important gun manufacturers up in New England. So the AFL is helping a union strike against Remington Rand, inspired by syndicalist strikes. Workers reached the pinnacle of their anger when the company began spreading rumors that they would not be bought by a firm that would not recognize the union. After the union threatened to strike, the company distributed its own strike ballots, which led to anger as union members seized and destroyed company ballots while also intimidating managers, spurred on by Jack Reed. Unions become violent. Local police and private security forces were called up by Remington Rand on numerous occasions to break up the strikers. As the frustration of the strikers grew, so did the tactics. Emboldened by Red Guard militias, strikers had begun to create homemade bombs and hurl large iron balls at the police. Blood has been shed, as some of the strikers have even been shot by the police. Obvious choice is to send in the National Guard. Putting down the strikers and regaining the police force's discipline would ensure that this rabble would finally be dealt with. However, some stress that this may only fuel more tensions among our workers. The syndicalists are right on our border, and they will no doubt capitalize on this strike to further paralyze our nation. Instead, they suggest we approach the strikers in negotiation. This will also help us earn the trust of striking workers. Well, dang, it's kind of, they might as well be holding up a neon sign saying, "Do not send in the National Guard." Yeah, it's going to go bad if we do that. So we're going to say we could be reasonable. That's going to cost us 10 political power points, but you know what? I bet the alternative would be like the CSA is allowed to attack us or something. And we have, that would make sense with that modifier. Yeah, we cannot be called to war by allies, nor can we ask to join allies' wars. Oh, so maybe it's not the other way around. I was thinking like maybe you could attack New England, but there wouldn't be consequences. I don't know. So Vice President Joseph Ely, working closely with the prospective Vice President for the Democratic ticket, Theodore Green, brought a request to the desk of the President. Ely favors a debt-based public works program in an attempt to solve the rampant unemployment. President Martin Jr. has made it known he has issues with this, the Second Square Deal program, and he has agreed in the spirit of compromise to not block Congress from passing the legislation. We need a united legislature. All right. So we're getting 0.74 political power a day. That's really not too bad. Weapons cache is looted. Our team secured weapons and are moving towards New England. Yeah, so that's just more Underground Railroad stuff. We don't have to, go through it all the time. Strikers appeased. They're offering talks. Their rights to unionize were granted. Many strikers who've been arrested were rehired. The strike's victory has worried some. If workers continue to be radicalized and organize deadly strikes that cripple the already exhausted economy, who knows how long before New England falls to the syndicalist menace. While the factories are reopening and the strikers finally return to work, many in the government wonder if New England will be safe from the tide of revolution. Words solve problems. So, syndicalist popularity is going to go up by 2%, but we're getting we got a net 5 political power out of it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Okay, so we lost 1%-ish of our own party popularity. Yeah, it's fine. I probably could have been worse. Mail time! Several state governors and sorry, I don't know if you guys can hear that engine. And representatives have encouraged their constituents to write into the president's office in Boston. Most of these government officials fall into the Democratic large government camp, who wish to see significant expansion of resources. Leading the charge in upstate New York is Representative George Bradshaw Kenny, ever popular with his support base of industrial union workers. He has held several speeches centered on what he refers to as the Great Mail Campaign. Every citizen in the United States deserves to be held at all levels of the government. Force people to combat the Depression. Let our voices be heard. Okay, we got political power out of it. That's what matters. The Savoyard crisis has been resolved. Did they change the color of the CNT? It looks a little different to me. It looks slightly darker. Death knell of the Maine clan. Since its inception as a compromise... Wait, no. Political trends. Show national mood. There's been immigration from French Canada and Catholics. So, Eugene Forward, deep weight of clan temperature. Okay, so basically the Klan started boiling up in Maine in response to French speakers showing up, and we're trying to overthrow the local Republican Party. In the wake of electoral defeat, Maine Klan suffered a number of legal and monetary setbacks, leading to universal collapse. The Klan itself is all but dissolved. A more insidious legacy remains. A number of sheriffs and municipal administrators were put in place by the Klan more than a decade ago and continue to maintain Klan values. All that remains are the women of the Klan, who continue to fund a collection of local chapters through bake sales and church meetings. So I'll stay away from Klan casserole, thanks. So, national populism is going down. Because, the Klan's being... If you want to be in the Klan, find a boat and make your way to Baton Rouge over there, yeah? Okay. We do town hall democracy now, but I think I want to do Lexington and Concord so I can get even more political power coming in. Not much, though. Swaying public opinion. Actually, for this is going to be more. We won't get the stability of war support, but this public opinion one is better. Yeah, let's do town hall democracy. Democracy works best on the local level. Down to just one factory. That's not good, not good. Alright. Nothing is ready to deploy. What do we have to be at? Oh! That's why I don't have any place for them to drop. There's your problem. Okay. On the campus of Yale University in New Haven, a new interest group has risen to prominence, inspired by Charles Lindbergh and Charles Colin. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so America Force wants to form. David Walsh of the Democratic Party was seen in attendance. Well, good thing we didn't go with him. National crisis is causing escalation. Provisional government exists only because of Canada's intervention. It'll take time and effort to legitimize the government of New England as the true successor of the United States, isolationists or not. No one in New England wishes to witness the return to British in Boston, and while Canadians have assured New Englanders they are safe, only time will tell whether or not the occupation is temporary or not. So America First, the American First people are basically saying we cannot get involved in European wars. So we can say they make some good points and will make authoritarian democracy stronger, or we could say attempt to suppress the organization when they'll still get more popular and I'll lose political power. You know what? Yeah, it's saying that like we don't want to go to war in Europe while we haven't reunited the country. That does make sense. But I don't want to let there be a seed that can grow. Because you know, with the unions, it's just like, yeah, fine, you can unionize, and then they just shut the fuck up. Excuse me for cursing, but yeah, they just shut up about it, and then they stop fighting me, I think. On the other hand, the AUS is not anywhere near us. See, it says attempt. That makes me feel like it could go wrong. We're gonna say they make some good points. Take the popularity hit. Yeah, we lost just another 1%, so most of it was taken from other places. That's good. We still got 15 political power. I probably also should pick a person of influence. But I see how long today's episode has already gone, so we'll do that next time. I'm Conquering History Games. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you then. And we'll start with going over another state. I don't know which one. I haven't decided yet. Have a good one. Bye.